Folks, if you're tuning in live by Facebook, we appreciate you being with us. We'll officially go live at the top of the hour. We're about a minute and a half away. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to a wonderful series called Messages of Inspiration, Hope, and Support. I'm Jim Grant. This series is proudly sponsored by SpeakersPathway.com, Speakers Pathway Coalition. Is it okay if I take you on a little trip and show you some free gifts that you can get and where you can find some of our previous speakers? Let me share my screen with you, please. Here we go. And let's see here. Here we go. I don't know where that came from. This is our homepage at speakerspathway.com. This is what some of the other folks say about us. Get your complimentary gifts. The TEDx training is a free training. I'll show you that in just a moment. Messages of hope, inspiration, hope, and support, excuse me. These are individual presentations of all of our speakers. And also a free course, a complimentary course on how to grow your business through speaking. Well, let's take it from the top here. Don offers his free 5 simple steps to a kick butt TED Talk. This is absolutely free. Don is a speaking geek. You can tell by the expression on his face, he loves speaking. That's who he is. To get your action guide, just click on that. Like I say, this is totally free. Everything I'm showing you is 100% free, no strings attached. Don also has a course on how to grow your business through speaking. This is a free course that we offer. So please take advantage of that. Or if you know someone who could use any of these gifts, please share them. We also have complimentary gifts by all of our executive training directors, Koji Samaldi, Mr. Bill Heinrich, Dr. Sony Jackson, Tamara Hunter. I like to point out Tamara a little bit because she created a celebration journal for cancer sufferers and people with other life-threatening diseases. She's a cancer survivor. She knows what she went through, and she decided to create a celebration journal, a day-by-day thing to help them down their pathway of life as they deal with these diseases. So please share that with others. Mr. Dustin Matthews, How to Get Out of Debt and Boost Your Active Income, and Preston Martelli, one of our executive training directors, How to Get Your Complimentary Brand Audit and receive your 90 action steps to the next level. Now, the messages of inspiration, hope, and support. Our individual speakers are listed here. As you can see, we got about 10 per page. We've got over 60 speakers listed there. And if you'd like to hear Dr. Cheryl Lentz's presentation, just click on her picture. And this is the way it will be brought up. That is a YouTube video that will play. And this is a little bit of information about Dr. Cheryl Lentz. So please take full advantage of this. And most importantly, share it with someone else who's got a lot of great information there. The speakers there have been very fantastic in their presentations. We've got 3 great speakers today. That's really exciting. I can't wait to hear from them because I'm super blessed because I get to interview these hosts, and oh my goodness, I tell you right now, it's really a blessing. Our first speaker today will be a young lady by the name of Heather Anderson. Let me turn on Heather's camera and unmute her and invite her to the, okay, she's unmuted. Did you get can you cut your camera on? There she is. And Heather, let me the spotlight. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, she's going to be our next speaker. She's going to be speaking to us about how people and the community, they come together to respond to challenges, circumstances during a crisis, and also the resilience of the human spirit. Heather, we're certainly can't wait to hear your presentation. Let me mute my mic and cut off my video because the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I want to talk to you about responding to crisis, the power of community, and the resiliency of the human spirit. I'm going to tell you part of my history because it's the foundation for what I'm going to be talking about today. It was so incredibly difficult to go through, and I haven't even really found the words to describe it all, but it's the reason I'm able to talk and connect with all of you right now. I experienced a massive loss in a short time. One of those losses was that my house was burned down in a massive forest fire about 6 years ago. And we lost everything in the fire. And what I didn't lose in the fire burned up, figuratively speaking, within the following year. But the local community stepped up in a huge way, in addition to my family, friends, and friends of friends. For example, there was a 6-year-old girl, the daughter of a friend in Florida, who set up a lemonade stand to help us out. And she donated all of her funds to my family, to me. It was so incredibly humbling. And so I would just love for you to just take a moment and understand and imagine that if a 6-year-old girl did that for you, someone you didn't even know, what that would feel like. And I would just love for you to take a moment and just feel that. So I want you to know today that community, generosity, and love change us. They change human hearts. From my personal experience, so much was being built into my life and my heart when I felt almost completely hopeless. I just didn't realize it at the time. The heart of the giver and the receiver change if we allow it. I once heard that if we don't allow people to help us and we try to stick it out on our own, we deny the person of getting the wonderful feeling of helping us because they need that feeling of helping as much as we need the help. And I want to share a concept with you. I'm sure you already know it because I know that since you're watching and listening right now, you're already a pretty smart person. But here's the thing. We really only grow when we're stretched, when we experience some adversity. When we work out, our muscles, including our hearts, they get stronger when they're stressed. Now, if you have a heart condition, please take this as a metaphor only and don't go out for a sprint after this talk. It's a disclaimer, but hang in there with me. Lifting weights creates micro tears in the muscle. It's only through being stressed, strained, broken down, and stretched, can you tell I'm not a huge fan of working out, and healed again, that muscles get stronger. But seriously, our inner strength works in the same way. It's only through being strained, stressed, and stretched that we grow. And that's how our faith and our spirits grow. It's how our mental and emotional strength is formed and grows, giving us greater endurance for the challenges that life throws at us at times. It's the stuff that gives us grit. I kind of love that word grit. We don't hear it very often, but it's a huge part of what helps us get through life. Relationships are strengthened and oftentimes formed in the same way. Through hardship and common experiences, trials bond people together. When people share experiences, there's a knowing and understanding that many times don't even require words to be spoken. I'm a parent who adopted my child through the foster system. And for those who have done the same thing or who are foster parents, we understand each other, we get each other. The struggles that we face, those of our kids and the parenting challenges that we often share, it's so much of the same thing. I grew up in a strong military background, and I know that military service and hardships of war create strong bonds and loyalty, a brotherhood amongst those who serve. What we're going through right now with COVID-19 is a bond that we're experiencing if we choose it. There's so much power in having that connection as we're all experiencing the same thing for the most part. What's happening in the world now is having the same effect if we let it. It's creating bonds throughout our lives and all of society, whether we're realizing it or not. As a society, as a nation, a global community, as a whole, we're having the same experiences, the same circumstances, the same emotions, and potentially the same fears. The same things I'm uncertain of are the same things you're uncertain of, and is the same for someone in Europe or Asia. My point is, we're all human. This time and these circumstances is what I call the great equalizer. A virus doesn't care if you're rich or poor, educated or not, from one country or another. Aside from certain age and health demographics, everyone across the globe is experiencing what you and I are. What I appreciate about times of crisis when we're in them is the playing field is leveled. By that, I mean that a lot of times people are more open. Our walls come down and we're more vulnerable, authentic, and human. People who might not connect and have a conversation under more normal circumstances can make meaningful connections. For instance, I went to Walmart one day looking for a grocery item, and the whole grocery section was so depleted, but the item I was looking for was right next to an item that another family was looking for at the same time. So I heard the family say, the husband said, you can buy more ketchup, but do not buy more mustard. We have plenty of mustard. And I chuckled to myself a little bit. And I said, yeah, I've heard that you can put ketchup on anything and it makes it better. And he laughed and he responded, he says, yeah, that and ranch. If we can't find anything else to eat, we'll put ranch on our shoes and eat them. I got such a big kick out of that. Nowhere else in any time would any stranger have that conversation. And I just want everyone to know that we're all in this together. There are so many opportunities for growth and change right now. I'm growing and I'm changing and I'm learning new skills. And we as a human race are being stretched. We're having to adapt. Too often we don't change until something outside forces us to do so. It's a great time of change. We're learning new ways of doing things. And with all of that can come amazing, brilliant ideas, creativity, and ingenuity. It gets us all out of the box mentally, for better or for worse. It's uncomfortable, but we got this. So we're connecting in new ways, meeting, doing business in new ways. For one, I'm thankful that technology has come so far so that we can do this right now. It's not a necessity to meet in boardrooms anymore. And that's how we're able to meet today. And that's how I'm able to talk to you. It's truly amazing. In-person connection is so important for our mental and physical health and well-being, but it's not an option at this point, or hasn't been anyway. Some of you may have that option right now. In my area, we're getting there, but let's not forget the need for human connection moving forward. One of my favorite quotes from my mentor is, faith and fear both demand we believe in something we cannot see. We still have choices, whether or not we feel like we do. We can choose to be victims right now or ever. This time will most certainly change us, but we get to choose if it's for the better or for the worse. I urge you to lean into the uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for us right now in so many different ways, but we still have choices, whether we see them and think we do or not. It's just a matter of perspective and flipping the script. We have a choice about what we focus on. We as people naturally head in the direction of our mental focus, or in other words, what we focus on. If we choose consciously or unconsciously to focus on fear, anxiety, and negativity, we'll feel and get more of it, and will actually affect us emotionally and physically. By what we choose to see notice in our environment, are aware of and mindful of, focus our attention on and dwell on, that's exactly what our brains start seeing more of. A good example is when you look at buying a new car. You don't even see or notice that car on the road until you start looking for one, and then that's all you see on the road. Remember that we have the choice to make things negative or positive right now. I want to really encourage you with that. Sometimes it takes a lot to turn that around. If you're like me, I sometimes have to tell myself, stop it, when I notice having a negative thought. That's something I've had to do a lot. Trust me, I've dealt with trauma, and at one point I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And I understand that battle of what it takes sometimes for some of us to turn that around. But we can use our mind and our will to be in a good place mentally and physically. What can we do? I have 8 ideas for you. If you're struggling right now with some of this stuff, for most of us, the COVID-19 has made us slow down. It certainly has for me. Others have had a hard stop regarding schedules. I certainly have. First, I want to ask you, what have you always wanted to try and do? Now I know, again, like we can't always get out of our house right now, but finally create a workout schedule and routine. If you're like me, I have this huge stack of books sitting by well, actually I have a number of them all over the place. So do you have a stack of books that have been sitting around collecting dust? Have you wanted to learn a new language? It's a great time for that. Number 2, it's also a great time to learn calming techniques if you don't have that in your current routine that supports you in that. Look up online how to learn to do diaphragmatic breathing. And what that is not breathing in your chest, it's breathing down further for extra oxygen saturation, which helps calm our brains. So as weird as it sounds, because our lives are so hectic, we hardly ever take the time to breathe, which reduces stress. So I would encourage you to learn how to do that. Set a timer for yourself about every half hour or an hour to do just calm breathing. It really helps our nervous system. And then do that until it becomes a part of what you do all the time. Number 3 is finding guided meditations. You can easily incorporate it into your routine as well. With regular practice, it's really incredible what it does for our brains, our bodies, our emotions, and our mental outlook. The 4th one is our brains scan our environment for what we direct it to look for. It's like a heat-seeking missile. Find positive, uplifting information to feed your mind. If you do that enough, you actually switch from seeing more negativity and having fearful or anxious thoughts to being more positive. Also on that note, limit your exposure to news and the media. And I understand it's so important for us to know what's going on. But if you ruminate on that, it's gonna just take you down and reduce your positivity. So just be aware of that. The 5th one is write down 10 things every day that you're grateful for and try to really feel it right in your heart. Now, I'm not a doctor, you probably already know that, but I've read a ton of research and of the benefits that gratitude has for our brains, our hearts, and our bodies. As a kid in church, I would sing this hymn, Count Your Blessings, and some of you may know it. I used to think that was kind of cute and trite, and maybe a good thought, idea, something that could come in handy. But I had no idea how important, impactful, and really ultimately essential it actually is, and how creating the habit of gratitude and incorporating it into our daily routine affects us neurologically and really our entire spirits and the essence of who we truly are. And it gives us a sense and feeling of joy in our daily lives. The 6th one is help others. A short phrase I really appreciate from one of my favorite communicators is move toward the mess. It's so important for us to meet one another where we're at. Some people are more fearful or anxious than others. I've definitely been there. For those of us who are less so, we need to encourage others who are struggling. Number 7, please be honest with yourself and others about how you're feeling. I have lost a family member to mental health. And if you're having a hard time, please let someone know about it. Community and connection are vital for us to maintain positive, healthy perspective. Number 8, the last one, don't isolate. We don't have to be alone or feel isolated, even though we can't really be with people right now. Call your friends, connect over Zoom or FaceTime. Call the elderly people in your life to see how they're doing. Offer them help or to run an errand for them. Let them know you're available to support them. There are organizations for reaching out. So if you feel like you have the time and the emotional capacity, reach out or allow someone to help you in that way as well. Let's remember right now to have compassion and empathy for others. Let's understand that we're all doing our best in these unprecedented circumstances. Every person we encounter right now is going through the same thing we are, or might even be in a more challenging situation. So we need to be mindful of that. Be patient with others, including those that drive like jerks or who don't act nicely towards you. A lot of times we react in not as nice ways when we're under stress. So I want to encourage you and challenge you today to take stock. There are incredibly significant times in history and in our lives, and this is one of them. Don't let it go to waste. I would highly encourage you to write your thoughts and answers to these questions I'm going to ask you down and have the courage to take action on it. The first question is, how is my mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being? Number 2, are my relationships healthy, supportive, life-giving, and positive? And number 3, if not, what changes do I want and need to make? So in closing, I hope this has been valuable to you. Thank you for being here. I'll leave you with a few of my favorite words that I do my best to live by. Those are faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. If you would like to get in touch with me, my email address is heatherca80@gmail.com. Thank you again so much for being here.
Wow, Heather, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. I love the way you encourage people to be able to reach out, use Zoom, and, talk to people, family and friends, in the way we do it in business and all that. And in fact, like most families, I guess, or a lot of families, we had a couple of Zoom calls, and I learned something very, very important here. The third one we're going to play some trivia. Now, the advantage in that is that they will not be telling these embarrassing, goofy stories about me growing up and everybody thinks it's hilarious except me, so that's one of my freebies I want to give. But most importantly, reach out, stay in touch with people. And just like here at Speakers Pathway, we asked ourselves, what can we do during this crisis? Since we're already in the virtual world, it only seemed natural for us to share our blessings and invite good speakers on like you, Heather. And again, be sure and repeat your email address, how people can get in touch with you, and say, tell me more. If you have a web address, whatever you want to share, please do.
Sure. It's heatherca80@gmail.com.
Okay, great. Thank you again and for being here. And we're just so glad that you blessed our stage today. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
We'll talk with you soon. Let me cut off Heather's camera there and also mute the mic there. And I've got to bring a young lady on by the name of Dawn Meyer. I'm going to send you a request to start your video, unmute you, and there she is. Dawn, let me give you the spotlight. And today you're going to be talking to us about how we can release stress and stop being upset, and at the same time create more calmness and peace in our lives. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, Tim.
Good,
Jim.
good, because that's a subject I know that all of us need to hear some on, especially me. So I'm going to let me cut off my camera, mute my mic, and the stage is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Jim and Speakers Pathway, for inviting me today. As he said, my name is Dawn Meyer. I'm an energy healer, a life possibilities consultant, and a former NASA Space Shuttle rocket scientist. Today, I'd like to share with you some ways to release stress and create more peace and calm in your life. Because I get it. These are stressful, trying times for us. And you need to strengthen yourself and stay healthy. Reducing stress is vital for maintaining your overall physical, mental, and emotional health. It can improve your mood, boost your immune system, promote longevity, and allow you to be more productive and more at peace. You see, during times of stress, your brain undergoes these chemical and physical changes that affect its functioning. And these changes can contribute to things like high blood pressure, weakened immune system, and over time can be much more serious things like ulcers and strokes, heart disease, headaches, panic attacks, depression, anxiety, even relationship conflicts. So getting rid of stress is very important. And I'd like to share with you a few techniques to help you unwind, release some stress, and create more calm in your life. The first one I'd like to share with you is breathing. Yeah, breathing. I mean, we do it all the time. It's easy, right? And yet, it's amazing how we tend to hold our breaths when we're stressed or breathe very shallowly. So breathing, especially deep breathing, is one of the easiest and best ways to lower stress. And it helps you to relax and reduce tension and anxiety. See, when you breathe deeply, you're telling your brain to calm down and relax. And then your brain says, hey, body, it's time to calm down and relax. And your body calms down and relaxes. Breathing exercises increase the supply of oxygen to your brain. Of course, it is breathing. And it stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, which can promote that state of calmness. Breathing techniques can help you feel more connected to your body. And that takes your attention away from your worries that are running around in your head and helps you quiet your mind. So yes, breathing exercises, the ideal time is like 20 to 30 minutes. And if you don't have that kind of time, even just a minute or two of calm, relaxed breathing can produce a dramatic change. The one that I'd like to share with you today is called 4 Square Breath. And like it says, it's 4 steps. So you breathe in for a 4 count, you hold for a 4 count, you breathe out for a 4 count, and you hold for a 4 count. And you can imagine yourself when you're breathing in to breathe in calm and relaxation. Then breathe out and then hold for 4 seconds. Breathe out tension and upset. Hold for 4 seconds and repeat the cycle until you're feeling much more calm and centered and relaxed. The great thing about this one is you can do it anywhere. You can do it when you're driving, and let's face it, a lot of times calming yourself while driving is very beneficial to you. So breathing is the first technique. The next one I'd like to share with you is my favorite, my absolute favorite. It's being out in nature. You see, being out in nature, again, reduces stress hormones. It decreases depression. It lessens your negative thoughts. It energizes you and it relaxes you. There have been research studies that show the importance of having contact with the natural world, because walking in nature can change the blood flow level in your brain, which helps improve your mood, gives you a sense of being away from the day-to-day stresses of life, and allows you to put things in perspective for yourself. The natural world stimulates you and pleases the senses, which generally gives you that feeling that you're in a very supportive and harmonious environment. So whether you're sitting outside, walking, riding a bicycle, or go hug a tree, which, hey, I love to hug trees. Getting outside can be so beneficial. And people say to me, I live in the city, I can't get outside. So you can do what I used to do. You can create your own nature. How do you do that? Well, when I used to work in an office, when I worked for the Space Shuttle program, I didn't have any windows near my desk. I felt very isolated from outdoors, and I felt that I really needed to take a break sometimes and get into nature. So I created my own nature. I had pictures on my walls that were pictures of beautiful spots that I like to be, like mountains, forest, the ocean, whatever it was. And I could see them when I looked up from my work. And when I really felt that I needed to get a break, I would just calm myself down, look at the picture, and put myself in that environment. I would be sitting on that mountain. I'd be sitting at the ocean. I'd be underneath that tree. I'd be breathing in the air of the outdoors, feeling the sunshine on my face, even just for a few minutes. Relaxing in that experience of being outdoors, or sometimes I would be there sitting with my cat, would really transport me, and it would change my energy. It would allow me to calm down. And it had the same effect as if I was really out in nature. Now, maybe you can't have pictures on the wall where you are, so I invite you to put them on your computer or on your phone or have them in a desk drawer. And then when you need that break, take that mini vacation via your pictures. Take that time outdoors using your pictures. It's really effective. Now, my next one is meditation. Now, I get it. Some people say, oh, there's no way I can meditate. It's much too restrictive. I don't have the patience. And yet, if you allow yourself to get into meditation, it can be extremely relaxing. And you don't have to do an hour at a time. You can do a few seconds. Get yourself used to it. Start with the picture meditations. Start with walking outside and having a meditative, calming state. You see, studies show that practicing meditation creates a substantial reduction in stress and in anxiety, and it gives you a boost in mental alertness and in focus. Some of the other benefits of meditation include reducing stress and anxiety, fears and depression, reducing heart disease and high blood pressure, deepening sleep, strengthening your emotional balance, stimulating clearer thinking and focus. It can give you an enhanced creativity state and a deep sense of peacefulness. Again, meditation can be very simple. You can practice meditation wherever you are, whether you're out walking, riding a bus, being a passenger in the car, waiting at the doctor's office, or even sometimes, and sometimes a little tricky, being in the middle of a difficult business meeting. But really, you can do it. Sometimes you just close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, or use that 4 square breathing that I talked about. Envision yourself somewhere peaceful. Again, a meadow, the mountains, at the beach, under a nice big tree, somewhere that you feel relaxed and peaceful and calm. Just for a couple of minutes. Imagine yourself listening to the breeze or the waves, allowing them to carry your tension away and bring you more calm. So it can be a great pick-me-up at any time. Now granted, the closing your eyes part, you do have to not do that while you're driving, but you can still be somewhat meditative when you're driving even. And again, using some of those others like the breathing techniques when you're driving can be very, very beneficial to you. And my last technique is called return to sender. Just like it says, like the Elvis Presley song, Return to Sender, or that little stamp that you get on the mail when it sends it back to you because it doesn't have the right address. You're returning things and letting them leave you. It helps you release stress and upset that's all around you, because right now there's a lot of stress and upset around you. I know there is around me. And it helps you move forward with more ease and more peace. Let's face it, you're much more sensitive to the energies around you than you may think. In fact, you're kind of like a big satellite dish, or maybe a little satellite dish, since big satellite dishes are really big. You're like a little satellite dish. You soak up or tune into all those thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are all around you from everybody and everything. And what happens is you tend to think that because you're aware of those things, that they're actually yours and that you must act on them. However, most of them are not yours. And since they aren't, you can't actually heal them or clear them or do much with them because they don't belong to you. But the one thing that you can do is let them go and set yourself free. So how do you use this thing? Well, when you start feeling upset or overwhelmed by life and it just seems like everything's crashing in on you and maybe you're suffocating in all of it, you can say, all of this stuff around me and all of this stuff that I am sensing and feeling, I return it to sender with consciousness attached. So let me repeat that. All this stuff, I return it to sender with consciousness attached. Now, the consciousness attached tells the universe that you're returning this stuff and the universe needs to deal with it. The universe decides what has to be done. You don't. People say to me, but I don't want to return this to somebody because what happens if it's too much for them? That's for the universe to decide. It may have to go back to that person who originally was feeling it so that they can learn to deal with it or heal it or clear it. Or it may get transformed into some other form of energy that the universe requires. See, the universe makes that choice for you. You're not responsible for deciding all those things. I use this a lot. I recommend to you that you use it at least once a day to clear you out and give you some room to breathe. Again, I return all of this to sender with consciousness attached. It'll give you that gift of freedom. And actually, I have it as a recording that you can go out and get off my website. It's iamPurpleDawn.com/return-sender. So you can go out and get that recording and listen to it, listen to the explanation of it, and allow yourself that gift. I hope that these have been helpful to you. I know the importance of having less stress and more peace. I've been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. So I encourage you to use these and allow yourself to come back into that centeredness, into that peace and calm that will really benefit you and your body. So again, I'm Dawn Meyer, energy healer, life possibilities consultant, and former NASA rocket scientist on the Space Shuttle program. I'm showing you the spirituality and the science to set yourself free and allow you to have peace and calm in your life. Thanks for joining me.
Wow, thank you, Don. That was a wonderful message that you delivered because when, like one of our executive training directors, Bill Heinrich, he talks about there's only two emotions. There's either fear or there's love. If you're living in fear, you're living in the physical world, that's where you're limited. That's where stress is. That's where all these bad things are. But if you're living in love, you're living in abundance. And as we see the model there of the little space shuttle there behind you, you say that was an award that you won. Is that correct?
Yes, I was, like I said, I was a space shuttle software engineer for
Hmm.
over 25 years, and that is an
Wow.
award that I won for a project that I did.
Well, congratulations. Very impressive. I know you're very proud of that.
I am.
And
That's why it's
yeah.
there.
Yeah, I would have one of my words up, but I seem to be fresh out of them right now. But sincerely, your message about energy and how this can be so positive for us and turn on to the light and go and grow, because if we're letting stress master us, it robs us of our health, it robs us of our happiness, it robs us of everything. It's like a very violent bandit. And when you focus on, helping others and operating from love and light and brightness and focused on what you can do for others, that's when the dividends of life really come back on you. I call it the icing on the cake because it really
Exactly.
is.
It
It
is
really
because
is.
it allows you to realize just what you can be and do in the world and the importance of that and the importance of your energy that you're bringing, because you have to be the change you want to see, just like Gandhi said.
Yeah. We've said many times here on the air, and if you're listening to us today, folks, and you heard me say this, please forgive me, but too many people are focused today on ROI, return on investment. Be focused on a return on ROE, return on energy, because that's what it's all about. And I mean, the blessings that come with that are just, you can't measure them. And they just go on and on and on. Don, before I cut off the camera and invite Belita to join us, would you be kind enough again to share your information, how people can get in touch with you, if you have a website or however anybody just say, hey, I got to talk to this lady. Please share it
Yes.
with us.
My email address is dawn, DAWN, at iampurpledawn.com. And then iampurpledawn.com is my website.
Hmm.
And like I said, to get the return to sender recording that I have out there, it's at iampurpledawn.com/return-sender.
Thank you so very much. Really appreciate that. And we really thank you for blessing our stage today, Don. And thank you for wanting to be an active participant in the messages of inspiration, hope, and support. Thank you
Thank you.
again. Blessings. Let me cut your camera off. We got to invite a young lady here to the stage. Her name is Walita Lewis, and I've got to do some of the techie stuff. When I'm on the radio, ladies and gentlemen, I've got Ben Horlander that actually does all this stuff for me. And let's see here. Let me cut off this, mute this mic here. Well, I've just goofed this all up, haven't I? Good help's hard to find sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. Please bear with me. This thing keeps jumping around on me. And let's see here. There you are, Walita. Good deal. Let me give you the spotlight. And I really appreciate the struggle you went through just this morning to get here. I know your stress level had to be up a little bit because, she was there, ladies and gentlemen, we could hear, but she couldn't get her camera to work. And I said, well, we can reschedule you. That's okay. She says, no, I'm going to take a hammer and I'm going to fix this thing right now. That's my words. It wasn't her. She didn't say that. But Walita, you're going to be talking to us today, listen up, folks, about the laws, LAWS, the laws of attracting money. So evidently I must have broken a few of those laws. So you got my undivided attention on that. So let me mute my microphone, cut off my camera, and the stage is yours.
Hello, everybody. So like you said, thank you, Jim. My name is Walita Cherie. I want to begin first by reading to you all a letter that I wrote myself as if I was 100 years old, as to what I would tell myself at my current age. And it says, Dear Walita Cherie, I would love for you to know that you will become successful. You have the attitude, work ethic, and heart to reach that goal. First, you must let go of fear, as that will be the only thing that will hold you back. You must also tune out all negative thoughts and people. Continue to put God first, continue to study his word, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Never be afraid to ask questions out of fear or rejection. The fear will be your absolute no, not the rejection. I love for you to start taking more risks, fail faster, and learn sooner. I love for you to remember that 40 million millennials are waiting to hear from you. Your unborn children are ready to look up to you as their role model. God, Joseph, and your family will always support you no matter what. Love, Walida Cherie, age 100. So have you ever wondered why some people are able to make millions of dollars and lose it and then make millions of dollars again? Yet some people will never make $1 million in their lifetime. There are 5 laws of attracting money that I want to talk to you about today. And if you get these 5 laws deep down inside of you, you'll learn that you would see wealth beyond your wildest imagination. But a word of caution, you must make this a part of who you are. They will bring challenges, but you must never give up. You will notice that I'm not going to give you any specifics on how to make money because each person has their own unique way of making money. What I'm going to show you is how these 5 universal laws have been used and have been seen with the wealthiest people on the planet. So I want to start by giving you the first law. The first law is stop worrying or entertaining fear. You need to take control of what you have control over and let go of everything you don't have control over. And for those of you who now know that secret, you can already begin by getting rid of the things that you have no control over. And I want to show you how to take the steps to control the things that are within your control. The first step that you'll need to do is you'll need to write down what your fears are on paper. Don't just keep it in your head. Objectively see what your fears are by writing them down on paper. Then next to each of those fears, you'll need to ask yourself, is this realistic or is it likely? The next step you'll need to take is you need to create an action plan for your fear. You need to see, are there possible solutions? Are there people that you can call to help walk and navigate you through this possible fear? The fourth step you can take is suppose everything that is within your control you do and you still fail. What are the possible consequences? Could you live with those consequences? The fifth step you can take is suppose you do everything right and you succeed. What are the rewards? How would you take advantage of those new opportunities? And then the last step you can take is, what would happen if you didn't try at all? What would your life look like? Would you be able to live with those decisions for the rest of your life? Now I want you to make a note. Wealthy people take risk. They fail, but they are not failures because they look for opportunities to learn from their mistakes. So now that you know the first law, which is to stop worrying and to stop entertaining fear, I want you to begin to do that today. Now I want to move on to the next law. The second law is put good, factual, and relevant information through your eyes and ears. This can be books, podcasts, online courses, masterminds, conferences, audiobooks, and yes, even television. But when you're consuming this information, you need to ask yourself these 3 things. Is the information that you're putting through your eyes and your ears, which are the windows to your soul, is it good information? Does it make you feel happy, excited, optimistic? Or when you put this information within your eyes and your ears, does it make you feel bad and drained? Does it seem to deplete you of all happiness? The next thing you want to ask yourself is it factual? I would not suggest that you spend hours of consumption consuming information that has no facts to it. I mean, remember when we were kids and we would spend hours watching Disney and Nickelodeon and Fox and ABC Kids television shows? A lot of those things are entertaining, but if we try to apply those same concepts to our real life, I bet they won't work because, well, they don't work in real life. So you need to ask yourself, is the information factual? And then the third thing you need to ask yourself as you consume this information is it relevant? If you are an aspiring entrepreneur, if you're a writer, if you are an athlete, it doesn't really matter what it is that you're trying to become or who you want to become. You need to make sure that the information that you're putting through your eyes and your ears is relevant. Is it going to make you a better cook? Is it going to make you a better writer? Will it make you a better entrepreneur? So when you spend time using all these different mediums of consumption, make sure, again, you ask yourself, is it good? Is it factual? And is it relevant? I want you to make a note here. Wealthy people are avid readers. Many read or listen to at least one book a week. On average, these people spend their time usually spending it on educational information. They always elect education over entertainment. And so that's the rule of thumb. If you want to attract money to you, is that you need to make sure that you're more educational than entertainment. I'm not saying that you can't sit and watch Hulu or Netflix or Disney Plus, but you can't spend too much time doing it. It should be the minimum time in your schedule, not the maximum time. Now, the third law is, with who and where are you spending the majority of your time? There's a quote by a motivational speaker named Jim Rohn who says, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So I want you to see who are the people that you're spending the majority of your time with. And I call these the 3 enthusiastic E's and the 3 depressing D's. So I want to start first by talking about the 3 enthusiastic E's. Now, the first type of E is a person that energizes you. These are people that motivate you to help you to get the most out of life. This can be close friends and family. The second type of E, these are people that enliven you. These people bring you joy and excitement. They stimulate you. These can be your kids, your spouses, and even your best friends. I like to call these first 2 E's your cheerleaders. These are people that will help to support you no matter what. They want you to succeed because your success benefits them as well. And then the third E are people that enable you. These are people that teach you, they promote knowledge, and they enhance your skills. There are 3 types of people I think that falls under what are the people that enable you. The first type are your coaches. These are people that push you to work harder and reach higher. The second type of person are called soothers. These are people that help keep things in perspective and remind you of what's really important. And the third type are your advisors or your mentors. These are people that offer sound judgment and provide quality information. So ask yourself, are you spending the majority of your time with the 3 E's, people that energize you, people that enliven you, and people that enable you? If not, I'm almost certain that you are spending your time with the 3 depressing D's. These are people that, the first type of D are people that drain you. These people are costing you too much time, money, or attention. The second type of D are people that deplete you. These are people that you give all your time, money, and resources to, but they never give you anything in return. The third type of D are people that destroy you. These are people who have or can have the potential to ruin your reputation, your integrity, or your character. Now, I know you're sitting back and you're like, gosh, I think I have majority of the D's, the depressing D's in my life. Well, I have a solution for you. I have 4 things that I like to call the 4 C's that can help you take care of those D's that you have in your life. Because let's face it, most of the times these D's are people you care about. And so you don't want to just cut them off just because you feel as though they're draining and they're depleting and they may be destroying you. So this is what you can do. The first C is you want to confront them. You want to inform the person of the offense that they've caused you. You need to let them know that they've either drained you, depleted you, or they have destroyed you in some capacity, and you need to back it up with evidence. The second C is you need to correct. You need to give them an opportunity to correct themselves by giving them a time frame that you expect to see an improvement in their behavior. The third C is compromise. After that time has passed, you need to inform that person who offended you, either they drained, depleted, or destroyed you. You need to sit down with that person and say, hey, let's see if we can come up with a compromise, something that we can negotiate that can give us both win-win solutions. And then the fourth D is cut it off. If the person is unwilling to compromise, it's time to cut them off. You can't really feel bad about this because you've given them an opportunity to correct their behavior. And if they're choosing to still deplete, drain or destroy you is not good for you, and money can't be attracted to you because it's being sucked out of you. So again, you want to surround yourself around people who enliven, people who energize, and people who enable you to become a better person. Now, here's a note you need to make. Wealthy people surround themselves with people that fall in the 3 C's category, the 3 enthusiastic C's category. They do not allow people in the 3 depressing D's category to steal even 1 minute of their time. And I challenge you not to do that either. Now I want to move down to the 4th law. The 4th law is practice gratitude. It's easy for us to focus on all the negative things happening in our lives today, especially with COVID-19, the increase in unemployment rates, the economics of how everything seems to be either heading towards a recession or depression. We can't control those things, but what we can do is we can sit down every single morning and spend at least 10 minutes journaling about things that we are grateful for, things that even though life seems to be horrible, are in our control. What I want to challenge you to do is for the next 21 days is I want you to wake up every single morning and spend at least 10 minutes writing down friends and family that you are grateful for, because this helps to keep things into perspective. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to sit and I want you to write opportunities that you're grateful for. And here's just a piece of a side note information I want to share with you. In the Chinese language, they don't use the word crisis. They have 2 characters and they can either mean danger or opportunity. And so I challenge you to use the second definition, which is opportunity, to apply that to your life every single morning by showing gratitude. Now, the 5th and final law is be a person of action. Timing is everything. We are living in a time where opportunity is everywhere. So don't get stuck with just consuming information. Immediately apply at least one thing that you learn each day to help you move up the ladder of success. Write out your goals, write each step that it would take to actually achieve the goal that you want to achieve. Money follows action, so build momentum. Follow these laws every day and you'll learn to attract money over and over and over again for the rest of your life. I'm cheering for you. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Wow, you made so many great comments there. I mean, there were thoughts popping through my head like popcorn on a hot stove. There was a couple of things I want to share though. When you talked about failure, everybody has failed. And there's a lot of people who have been very rich and they've been very broke and they've been very rich. And the thing of it is that they never accepted their failure as being something permanent. They didn't label themselves that I'm a failure. When I was born, the cosmic force, I was born under some kind of a mojo or something, some kind of a dark cloud. And their attitude, they don't take failure seriously. They kind of like, well, that was a train wreck. Okay, we won't go down that track anymore. And they pick up the pieces and move on. And that's very, very important. Also, one thought came to my mind, and I want to share this with you and with the folks out there. Hopefully you'll enjoy this. Think of your mind being like just full of, fertile soil. And you can actually, plant anything that you want there. You can plant thorns and thistles and all those things, or you can plant a beautiful garden. And the amazing thing is that you're in charge of what's going to be going in there. And that was one thing that really resonated with me. And you talking about the times and all that, I want to share a quick story here right quickly. During the Depression, there was a husband and wife team. Their name he went by the initials OD, as in Oscar Delta. And her name was Ruth. Their last name was McKee. And they started out during the Depression, around 1931, I think it was. And they were selling 5-cent cakes out of the trunk of their car. They made these, cakes and sold them. And because that's all they could do. They said, this is what we are good at. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to try to sell 5-cent cakes. Even when during the Depression, everybody thinks that nobody had any money. Evidently somebody did. Because around 1933, if I remember the story correctly, they bought a bakery. And today they're still in business. They're known as Little Debbie Snacks. and I have flat enjoyed their snacks over the years. They really give, it gives us inspiration to know that even though the tough times are here, you know, they don't limit you. They don't shackle you unless you allow it. And I love what you said about people and all that, your friends, you know, you quoted Jim Rowe, and it's very true. You know, your average of who you hang out with. It's kind of like when you're growing up, your parents says, hey, you know, they were always concerned about you known by the company you keep. And that's never, ever, ever changed, and it never will. And I just want to personally thank you for being a part of our messages of inspiration, hope, and support. And let me cut on Don and Heather's camera, invite them back and give them a chance to say hello. And I want to personally thank them again. If I can, let's see, whoops, got about almost cutting something off here. Let's see, where am I at? Don, I'm working on it, Don. I'm doing the best I can here. I'm mentally challenged. Late. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity that we've had to get together today and to be able to share your messages with people out there in their hour of need. That's extremely a wonderful thing that you've done. And on behalf of Speakers Pathway Coalition and everyone that's hearing this and everyone that will see your individual presentation, it's our blessing to be able to share all of these wonderful messages with you. And these young ladies here, please share their messages with others that you know. That's one way of paying it forward. That's one way of helping someone in their hour of need. I'm going to give you a chance to wave goodbye. And thank you again for being here, ladies. It's a pleasure. Don, I didn't know a rocket scientist actually existed. I thought that's a term that we used to describe the smart kids. It was never used for me for some reason. But it was
Well,
sure a pleasure having. There you go. I'm glad I fooled somebody. But sincerely, thank you so very much for being on the show. It was a blessing to be your host. Thank you. Hope you have a wonderful day and bless you all. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.